ICENET. Dynasties live here.
Not to cheer them. By the way, Chicago made another deal today, picking up right-winger Dwayne Sutter from the New York Islanders for future considerations. And Sutter, Vive, Larmer, and Presley form a pretty good right wing for the Blackhawks.
Fred Sutter, one of my favorites. Watch this 2-on-1. Perfect 2-on-1. Love those Sutters. Brian Glenn now, watch this slap shot. Watch, Billy's got it, and it just trickles in. Folks, you're going to see some of the nicest moves in hockey right here. Derek King, nice move, out to Trotchy. Now watch him hold it, fake the shot. Vernon goes over and tucks her home. Nice move by both guys. Hock and Lube now, here he comes again. You know that name, bad, clear, and fast, and it should have had that one, Billy. Here's Brent Hall, son of Bobby. Watch the nice pass he makes over in the net. Way to go, Joey Mullen. Bobby Bassen scores on Delgarno's rebound. Shucks. Islanders win 5-4.
In Philadelphia, the Flyers looked brutal against the Islanders. Pat LaFontaine and Alan Kerr each popped in 2 goals. Kelly Rudy got the shutout. The Islanders won at 6.
League history. The Islanders facing the Rangers. Mikko Makela comes in front. Nice backhand from the face-off circle. The Islanders start the rout 1-0. Stay tuned for history. Derek King, rookie from Oshawa, scores there. His first pro goal brings the Islanders up 5-0. Islanders get 2 more in the third. Greg Gilbert will get the rebound. And that was Bassett's rebound. Gilbert sends it home to make it 8-0. The Rangers didn't have much to smile about. It was 8-1. But watch Marcel Dion from a near impossible angle. That is his 700th goal of his National Hockey League career. Only 2 other men in the NHL have ever done that. Gordie Howe, who has over 800, and Phil Esposito, who is the general manager of the Rangers, and Marcel.
Goalies who were just shell-shocked by the Islanders. Richard Crom to Brent Sutter. Watch the one-touch passes. Sutter moves behind the net and finds Mikko Makela out front. Makela had a big night. 2 goals, 1 assist. They were blowing it open. They led 8-1, and watch very carefully. Bottom of your screen, Marcel Dion alone takes the puck, shoots, and scores. That was a goal. It was a meaningless goal as far as the game was concerned, but a very big goal for Dion. His 700th career NHL goal. Only 3 players have ever done that. The greats Phil Esposito and Gordie Howe.
Sabres beat the Blackhawks 5-3. NFL yesterday, Colts over the Jets by 5.
Pat LaFontaine, who finds Alan Kerr in front. Right there, that ties it at 5, so we go to overtime. The Islanders had battled back from a 5-3 deficit, and LaFontaine will get the game winner as he tips it past the goalkeeper.
And the Saw Coliseum, no score in the second. Billy Smith will make the save on Brent Ashton right there, but watch Ashton. He slides into Smith, right into his legs right there. Smith had to be helped off the ice. Initial reports say he has a sprained ankle. The Islanders led 1-0 in the second. Richard Crom puts a great fake on Doug Hallward. His shot bounces back to him, and he'll score on the rebound, 2-0. Favor of the Islanders. The Isles led 3-0 in the third. Steve Yzerman beats Peter Klima, who scores past Kelly Rudy. Klima's 10th of the year, 3-1 Islanders. Wings made it 3-2. Then with time running out, Yzerman will tuck it in on a kind of controversial play behind the net. We don't know if it's in yet, but I guess it's ruled a goal as it beats Rudy underneath his legs. So we go to the overtime, and off the face-off, Mikko Makela beating Richard Crom, who beats Glenn Hanlon for the game winner. The Islanders, a victory. The final 4-3 in overtime. Crom tallied twice in that game. Now in the north.
Power play ranked 6th. It's loose to the right face-off circle, still loose, and Rod Lang, New York. Potvin with it. He winds up. The shot is partially blocked by Mike Gartner's stick. And around.
We missed on this hockey team is on the power play, because game in and game out, no matter how he plays, he always seems to hold the power play together. And I really think that in an unsung way, as brilliant as he's been over the years, last year at least, he was the key to the power play.
And a score by Pat LaFontaine. Well, Alan Kerr will get the assist, Bill, and LaFontaine the power play goal.
Pat pass. Who is that? Brent Sutter standing there.
Denis Potvin of the Islanders playing in our game tonight. Well, he joined the 1,000 games played club. That was last Thursday. The Isles lost the game to the Pittsburgh Penguins as he went over the big mark. Potvin played his first game for New York. Hard to believe it's been this long. Back in 1973, of course, he's the all-time leading scorer among NHL defensemen. Gord Donnelly of the Quebec Nordiques, a game for the ages, and at times it looked as though the game was going to last just that long.
I would like to say one thing to everyone that is listening that doesn't understand the game of hockey. This is not an ordinary hockey game.
Third period at Nassau Coliseum, and the Islanders are leading that game by a score of 3-1. And one of the amazing things about the Islanders this year is that right now they are tied for first in the Patrick division, and they have done it all without one of the greatest players of all time, Mike Bossy. Bossy was sitting in our broadcast booth tonight simply because he is sitting out the season with a back ailment. No one really knows if he's ever going to pull on that number 22 jersey again. Whether he plays or not, he already has the numbers to earn him a spot in the Hall of Fame. Ed Randall has more.
Mike Bossy has worn number 22 for the New York Islanders for a decade. In that time, he has recorded an impressive 573 goals and 553 assists. Mike Bossy has been a familiar face in All-Star games, having been chosen first team 5 times and second team 3 times. He's played in 129 playoff games and holds an all-time record of 85 playoff goals. But what he cherishes most are his 4 Stanley Cup rings. However, this season, number 22 is not out on the ice. Last year, he suffered a back injury, and Mike Bossy has announced he will sit out the 1987-88 NHL season.
Mike Bossy isn't retiring, and I am approaching the physical therapy with the hope of, as Bill mentioned, returning to a normal way of living. I'd like to pick my kids up again.
I've had a lot more time to spend with the children at home, and a lot more time.
Never known. He began playing it at the age of 5, and he's been doing so for 25 straight years. This is his first winter he won't be playing hockey.
Bossy waits. Trotier's centering pass was intercepted as Bossy again. He scores! Mike Bossy is number 50. There it is!
I miss playing. I miss scoring goals.
This time it's critical for the Islanders also to keep them from getting on the scoreboard and trying to bring the play back to the Penguins. All right.
I've been doing a little broadcasting with the radio crew, and I've watched most of the home games with Mr. Torrey, and although I don't feel as if I'm up there in any real in the line of duty when I'm watching a game with them. I sort of feel now, because of my injury, that I'm sort of in between careers now. I'm hoping to get back on the ice, but I'm not actually starting another career because of that hope that I will play again.
For 10 years, Mike Bossy's hockey home was here as he dressed under this nameplate. Now it is empty, testimony to the void that Mike Bossy's absence has created. The big question on Long Island is if and when Mike Bossy will ever fill those skates again. At the Nassau Coliseum for the NHL Tonight, I'm Ed Randall.
Drive, and Malarchik makes a good save. Wood can't control, though. Francis gets it.
Murphy snuck by Makela again, as he's been doing.
Fontaine is bodied off by Lang. Gould off the ice. 2:54 left to go in the overtime. Tied at 3. Masson cruising on over the blue line. Can he get around Stevens? No. The centering pass to Sutter. He can't connect. Masson breaks his stick. He'll never have a better shot than that from the slot. Wood. Langway patrolling the slot. They 2. This is Kerr. To LaFontaine. Just wide. Lauer scores! Says it all for Brian Murray and his Washington Capitals. Is
spun around and shot wide down on Kelly Rudy. Anytime you shoot wide, you always leave yourself open for the rush coming the other way. Now, Pat LaFontaine shoots that on Malarchuk. Pretty well sure that he steers it to the side, but LaFontaine shoots it wide, no angle and no leverage, and somehow shot it right up into the top of the net.
Let's take another look at it visually.
Here's Lauer. Watch the funny position he shoots this from. He has to twist around. It lands on his blade. Or you take him any way you can get him.
Relive the dramatic rise of the legendary New York Islanders, from the rugged early days to the exhilarating triumph of 4 consecutive Stanley Cup championships. Now on video cassette, Pride of the Island, the New York Islanders story. Championship hockey action at its greatest, with rare film footage and revealing interviews with Mike Bossy, Brian Trottier, Denis Potvin, and other Islander greats. Plus, hear from the men who built the team, Bill Torrey and Al Arbour. It's a must-own collector's video for every hockey fan. To order your copy of Pride of the Island, call 1-800-772-1234, 1-800-772-1234, or send your checker money order for $24.95 plus $3.95 for post.
Up the boards. Harry King can't catch up with it. Hammond waits, plays one off the boards. Loose at the Islander players bench. Over the line, up the middle, shoots that one wide of Healy. Sutter with his own rebound, trying to center. Wood is trying to cut through, and Thomas Johnson makes the pass. Brian Trottier left unprotected, his 8th goal of the season. And the Islanders are within 1. Here's the face-off. It is Crom. Healy forced out behind the net by Hardy. Makela one-handed it in front. Backhander off the stick of Healy. Trottier goes in after it. Minutes to play. The Kings 3, the Islanders 2.
Goes in on a breakaway unassisted as he slipped it through the 5-hole of Dowdeswell, and it's now 3-1. The Boston Bruins leading the
draw. Potvin toward the net. Down in front, and the play broken up as McKenna went to shoot one. McKenna from the blue line. Sutter trying to get around the defenseman. A 4th one just now. The Islanders have just tied it from the faceoff. Kenny Leiter blasting it off the right point. Beautiful shot by Leiter. After his bout with pneumonia, he seems to be gaining his strength and his touch, no question. What a blast, right from the faceoff. That was a beautiful draw. Ken Leiter with time. Look at that rising shot. Look where the goaltender Healy is. He's down looking for a low shot. Ken Leiter fools him with a high one. He never did see. They had 2 goals in 2 minutes and 4 seconds. And they're right back in the Los Angeles end of the ice again. Brent Sutter, Greg Gilbert, right wing, waits for Carson. Still waits. Is hounded by Leiter. Ache lost it, picks it up again, gives it to Randy Wood. Trying to cut around Wells, is checked from behind. Wood gets to the puck again. Plays it back of the net to Trottier. It's into the Los Angeles zone. Cuts to the left. Lets it go. He scores! When the Los Angeles Kings had went onto the scoreboard with a 2-goal lead at 3-1, a lot of people were leaving. They were scattering through the exits. On the radio, I suppose, in the car on their way home, they'll be wondering, why did they ever leave? His second of the 3rd period, Denis Potvin has gained the lead for the Island goal now for Denis Potvin, and tied with George Armstrong. Put it in the catching glove of Rudy as he went for the corner of the net. And
The Los Angeles goal is empty. Nichols and Wells at the points. Brent Sutter couldn't kick it away, and now Conroy tries to move it up the left wing boards and does. Can't get to it in time. Carpenter couldn't knock it down, and Brent Sutter has cleared it down into the Los Angeles end. Alan Kerr is able to clear it to center. Dave Taylor puts it and goes after it. Tries to put it in front. Rudy down on the short side, covered the puck, and it's all over. The Islanders stage one of those heroic finishes, coming back with goals from Trottier, Leiter, and Potvin after Los Angeles had taken a 2-goal lead.
As we go to the scoreboard, it was Montreal over the Islanders 5-2. Edmonton beat Quebec.
After Canadiens hosting the Islanders' first period scramble in front, Bobby Smith centers to Claude Lemieux, who gets the first of 2 goals for him on the night. And a little bit later in that first period, Stéphane Richer also scoring the first of 2 for the homestanding Canadiens as they stop the New York Islanders' winning streak at 5 in a row. Final score last night, 5-2 from the Forum, Montreal on top. Elsewhere, it was Newton
scored just enough to forge their way to the top. The Islanders, spirited by Kelly Rudy and net, winning 4 of their last 5, playing the MASH unit tonight, the banged-up, run-down New York Rangers, a team fighting its way through just about every imaginable injury problem in the early season. Here's what happened tonight. On the power play, the give and go for the Islanders is Brent Sutter will just blast it past John Van Beesbroek for a quick 2-0 Islander lead. This is the opening moments of the game. Islanders pressing again. Pat LaFontaine to Brent Sutter. Centers to Mikko Mekala, who scores. And where is the Ranger defense? That's what Michel Bergeron wants to know. Third period, Islanders up 5-3, but watch Ron Duguay almost single-handedly try to stir the comeback. Stick checks Thomas Janssen, breaks in, fakes Rudy. Second goal of the period, short-handed that is. And the Islanders do prevail, though, despite that comeback bid. Final count 5-4. I told you they're having all kinds of injuries.
Scored a goal with 1:40 left in the game on Tuesday, giving the Maple Leafs a 4-3 victory over the Islanders at Nassau Coliseum. It was Toronto's first road win against the Islanders since February of 1981.
50th goal of his career, the Islanders stomped Pittsburgh 7-1 at the Igloo in Steeltown. New York goalie Billy Smith got his 289th career win, tying him for 9th place on the all-time list with Ed Giacomin.
Coliseum, a clash between the first-place Islanders and the first-place Canadiens. And it was all tied up at 2-2 in the third period when early the Canadiens Claude Lemieux with a wicked wrist shot upstairs on Kelly Rudy. The Canadiens held on for the 3-2 win, Islanders' 4th loss in 14 games at home. On the scoreboard.
Right at the St. Louis line. Janssen waits outside, then dumps it in around the boards. Return. His shot just went wide with 5 seconds left. McKegney trying to clear it out. LaFontaine held it in. It's centered in front. That's going to do it. For the first time in a dozen games, the Islanders will go to overtime, tied at 2.
Pick up 2-0 in the second period. Pressing on their 8th power play opportunity tonight was the Winnipeg Jets. Andrew McBain gets it to Dale Howardchuk, back to McBain, and it's 3-0 just 19 seconds later, right through the 5-hole, as they call it. Gilles Hamel through Billy Smith's pads, and out of frustration, this happens in the NHL. It happens quickly, and it usually doesn't last for weeks.
For the Islanders, well, the highest point of their season came in the 7th game of the playoffs with the Washington Caps. In the 4th overtime period, Pat LaFontaine banged home a 60-footer, and delusions of another Stanley Cup began dancing in Islander fans' heads. But they came back to real life when the Flyers eliminated them in the next round.
It broke his jaw, sent him to the hospital. The Islanders were leading in the game 5-4. Pittsburgh net was empty. Mikko Mekala goes for the icing goal. He misses the open net. So just 7 seconds left in the game. Mario Lemieux tied it against Billy Smith, Lemieux's 42nd of the year. That's how it ended after overtime, 5-5. The NCAA
fast start. But one of the stars shining brightest on the Islander ice is Pat LaFontaine. He's one of the most popular members of the team on the ice and off. And this 22-year-old center is having a banner year. Mike Zimmet visited the Islanders.
Pat LaFontaine leads the Islanders in scoring. He has 3 game-winning goals and 2 game-tying goals. He seems to be all over the ice and is usually at the right spot on the ice when a goal is needed. Even though he's an effective all-around player, he has one specific advantage he uses better than many others.
In Quebec, a wild one, 8-5. The Isles take it. A couple of highlights. First of all, second period, Denis Potvin. He would score his 300th career goal. No defenseman had ever done that before in NHL history. It's 5-3 Islanders. Nordique's closed to 6-5, but Pat LaFontaine here makes the move. His second goal of the game early in the third, the backbreaker. LaFontaine with 30 goals.
Tonight, 30th of the year. That made it 7-5. A minute later, here they come again. Brent Sutter in front, 8-5. That is how it ended. Elsewhere
To do so.
froze.
Simpson, you know, he doesn't seem too interested. He's got to get those guys going. And here's Minnesota's Herb Brooks. Watch him blow the bubble. Nice one. One of the best gum chewers in the league. Check out these. Moved by Brad Lauer. LaFontaine gives him the puck. He walks around Bob Rose and slides it by tackle. Folks, see how this puck is wobbling on the ice? When Rakowski shoots it, it floats like a knuckleball and beats Kelly Rudy. Watch the good forechecking by Minnie. Broughton knocks Potvin off the puck. Dino Cicerelli picks it up and walks out in front and slides it home. Way to go, Dino. Pat LaFontaine gets his 27th of the season as he one-times a pass from Makla past tackle. It ends up a sister kisser 3-3. Potvin shot here. Big Tim Hunter out-muscles Thomas Johnson and then slides one past Billy Smith. Check it out, Billy. By Billy again. The Isles win the face-off. Steve Conroy's shot is tipped by Pavlitsky past his own goalie, Mike Vernon. Red Hall gets the winner as he fires one by Smith. Brett looks like the old man there. Flames win an easy one, 7-4. Brutal clearing pass and is a little slow getting back to his crease, letting Brad Lauer score. Well, you won the game anyways, Grant, so who cares, right? But you did ruin your shutout. Next, it's the Islanders' Mikko Makela. Mikko makes a nice pass to Wald Guy's Yari Curry. Curry holds Mikko. Next time, lead me a little more, will you? Let's see it again in slow motion. What a guy to give it to. He even puts a slap shot.
In Buffalo, the Sabres knocked the Islanders down to size tonight. Third period, Islanders down 4-1. Brent Sutter to Dale Henry. Henry, with his first goal of the season, made it 4-2. But then the Sabres come right back, put it out of reach 2.5 minutes later. Off the rebound, Scott Arneal scores his second of the night. The Sabres win that one 5-2.
Our second period, former Ranger Mike Donnelly with the backhander between the legs of Billy Smith. That made it 2-0 Buffalo. 2-1 in the third when Christian Rutu slaps one past Smith. That made it 3-1. Buffalo went on.
Well, stuff. Dennis Potvin spins around. The slap shot. He scores it. A 4-3 game, as close as the Isles would come. Mario Lemieux, of all people, given the penalty shot. He ain't going to blow this chance. Watch the deke on Kelly Rudy. 5-3 Penguins. Goal number 46 for Lemieux. Again,
The corner, nowhere near the net, sends it home. It's now 3-2 Penguins. Simmers fifth. Dave McElwain gets in, drops it back for Phil Bourque. The former Baltimore skipjack with a shot in the goal. His fourth of the year, 4-2 Penguins. Then it goes in. You know he's going to score. Moves it, sends it past Rudy, right through the 5-hole. Lemieux now has 46 goals in.
On the short side, Peter Angelo looked up at his defenseman, Chris Dahlquist, like something had happened to Potvin. He turns to get away from Lemieux and then lets it fly. There's the puck as it come in. Yes, it hit Dahlquist. Look at Peter Angelo. Look up at his defenseman. Shot, I think, if North is pointing to the right position. Yes, he's going to give us a penalty shot, and Mario Lemieux is going to take it. Kenny Leiter, in a leg race, was doing a good job keeping up with Lemieux, but he was a half a step behind. Noah Lemieux as he shoves it ahead and then tries to outrace Ken Leiter. He grabs him from behind. That's it. He got both hands on him from behind Lemieux into Kelly Rudy's area. Right on the dot, as a matter of fact. Mario Lemieux now is talking with Gilles Meloche, the backup goaltender, wanting to know if there's anything special he should be thinking. Let's watch it. What a move by Lemieux. What confidence. He just went over to Gilles Meloche and kind of give him a high-five tap. First player he went
from that long road trip.
Shot past Islanders goaltender Billy Smith. 4.5 minutes in. 1-0 Whalers. Just 4.5 minutes after that, the Isles tie it. Ken Leiter shoots. Former Yalie Randy Wood with the rebound. 1-1. The Islanders took a 3-1 lead. Then in the second, John Anderson will one-time the Sylvain Cote pass, and Tiger Williams directs it in. 3-2 Isles. 96 seconds into the third, Dave Tippett and Kerry Wilson work the give and go. Wilson gets the game-tying goal. 3-3. Then, just 1:21 left in the game, and Tippett will set up who else? McDermott.
Lost to the Whalers 4-3. Let's go to the videotape. First period 1-1, and Derek King in the corner to Brent Sutter, beats Liut. It's 2-1 Islanders. Second period, Sutter to Gord Dineen, and it's 3-1 Islanders. But they blow the lead, 3-3. A minute 21 left in the game. Paul McDermott beats Billy Smith 4-3 Hartford, and the Islanders now winless in their last 10 road games. At the Meadowlands,
their teammates face the Sabres next on the Niagara Frontier Sports Network.
And is brought to you by 9X Yellow Pages. If their 10 3-1 record over the month of January, that the other 20 teams in the National Hockey League, as well as fans and critics alike, have documented the Sabres' improvement to be the best this year in the National Hockey League. Tonight, Game 15 of the 16-game January schedule, right here at the Odd, as the Sabres host the New York Islanders. More on this evening's contest. Let's go to Mike Robitaille.
On the road recently, they have lost 10, they have tied 1. And Mike, the other night in Minnesota, they lost a game with 1 second to go in regulation time.
It'll be interesting to see what effect that will have on them, Ted, but they're not a good road team. This Islander team is not strong in front of their own net, and they're not strong in the offensive zone. I really believe the Buffalo Sabres have a terrific shot at winning this hockey game tonight. Now, their last game against Montreal, you might as well forget about that game. It's understated, rather.
They go back in, but Troop going in to get it. Now Foligno's tied up. Tied up. Now back in for Tucker. Goes to Foligno. Back to Tucker. He missed the puck. Bakala will shoot it right into John.
It's a good start for us. You know, it's a helpless feeling, isn't it? When you're playing against Montreal, I mean, there's nothing you can do. You know what you want to do. It's so hard even to break a sweat and really get into the game. There's just nothing there for some reason or other.
Yeah, it's, you know, Montreal's got a
2 points, 22 goals, 30. There's a pass right in front. It'll go to the far side. Lackley couldn't get it. There's a drive there, knocked away by.
In real hockey nuts, they might want to warm up their VCRs, and if you want a nice little keepsake, I'll be having an interview with Denis Potvin coming up in the second period, and I think it might be a nice keepsake. You might not see him again for a while, certainly not in this building. The man go right down to block the shot, and an excellent save right back.
Leiter with the shot off the stick of it. The save moved to in the backhand, another shot, another save, and Billy Smith appeared to be on his game here tonight.
Oh, does he ever?
Is in front of it. Tucker trying to work it back to the point. Oh, right in front of the score! And with shot. Smith tried to clear it, popped into the goal crease, and Andrew Chuck drills in his 19th goal of the year.
Now the puck, the out hustle, the Islander defenseman comes right out in with the shot. He scores!
Leiter drills one into the glove side of Barrasso. The Islanders come right back to tie out at 1.
Now the question here is, did the puck dip? Did it go in like a knuckleball? Because the puck was really jumping around and was rocking and rolling. He just smashes the puck, and sure enough, right into the far corner. Now there's no reason why Barrasso shouldn't have made the save. I mean, I can't imagine him not making the save.
It's cleared. They score! The Islanders take a 2-1 lead.
No goal. Can't they call it off? But the Islanders have a good shot at the puck right there. They both miss it. And sure enough, it was a high stick. Now, that's 2 outstanding calls tonight by Merritt. And the puck was up about shoulder level.
Now Ludwig into the Islanders zone. Janssen after him. +5 coming into this game.
Boy, that look.
And the puck still loose. And here's Johansson. Johansson winding up, shooting. The save, the rebound. Tucker gets it over now for Anderson. for Chuck, but it's blocked. The pass to Arneal. Over it goes. Oh, Smith made the save. It'll come back to Coop with his shot. Here's another chance. It comes back to the line. Kept in by Johansson. Over it goes.
And on the deflection. There you look at Denis Potvin, who I'll be talking to in the second period intermission. And as I mentioned before, a nice little keepsake for you. You're a real hockey nut. He's going to retire at the end of the season, and you won't see him interviewed in Buffalo ever again. Here it is right here. Wasn't that a nice play right there by Arneal? Look at the perfect timing by Smith.
The interviewer. I want to keep it because of Mike Robitaille.
Oh, you can pick me up anytime, kid. I'm here every home game. I mean, just throw it on anytime you like. Watch me for the full interview, and then it's just like having an English lesson.
There's a long shot. Barrasso. Ramsey has gone to the Buffalo bench. He's hurt his right hand, his glove, and he's looked at by the trainers. Here comes Lauer in over the line. Here's Starjaw to the Islander line. Looks. Oh, a good pass over to Ruff. The shot. The pass that hit Arneal, a bouncing puck, and it's recovered by Janssen. Sports Network.
Remember the good old days? Walking down to the corner grocery store, being greeted by someone who knew you, and not waiting in long lines? Well, those days are gone.
His 26th goal of the year.
Talking about the opportunities that come up during a hockey game, and you can't miss, especially when you're on the road. And he could have very well missed that goal, but still.
It's in. Barrasso makes the save. They score! And the Islanders have taken a 3-1 lead.
Oh, they are really playing well right now and capitalizing on Sabre mistakes left and right. Watch them move into the offensive zone here. Snap the puck directly across. You see a defenseman? They'll tell you why. They both ran over to the far side and got caught over there and left the man all alone. Nobody picked him up whatsoever. Takes a shot, the save is made, the rebound comes out, hits the player, and goes right in behind Barrasso. Just like that, they've taken a 3-1 lead.
Derek King gets his third goal.
Career for you, Dennis, when you did a long way from junior hockey. Was there anything that you didn't accomplish?
Well, you know, I didn't really set goals like the ones I've accomplished. I came into the league hoping to be successful, but you never know, what's going to happen. And I guess the dream was to win a Stanley Cup, and we've done that a few times.
Well, I'm sure the upside would be have a terrific bank account, I would think, after all. That's been an awful good career. You think back at all the great players you played with, Dennis and...
Shot gloved by Smith. He decides to hold on to it.
Of all things, he'll try to deke him. Just one deke, and he goes with it. Rolls over and catches the puck right on the back.
Their last road victory was on December 4th in Landover. Since then, 0-10-1 heading into last night's game with the Sabres. Both teams looking to bring up some new young talent for the game. There's a couple who watched a tie in the first period. Then at 10:50, Mikko Makela in front. Watch him push the backhander past Tom Barrasso. Watch it in slow motion, Tom. It hurts even more that way. 26 for Makela. It was 2-1 Islanders. 9 seconds later, Derek King with the blast. Now it's stopped by Barrasso, but it just ekes through his legs. 3-1 New York after one. They win it 5-2 in Buffalo, so the win will tender.
Rudy ties him up, and Knotson. Terry Simpson is looking up at the wrong side for him. Of a 6-2 score, Montreal wins it in a walk. But
at center ice, and Gilbert. LaFontaine in behind that net, kicked into Gilbert, back for LaFontaine.
As if he had a Band-Aid up there. He also had some stitch action down around his lip, so possible couple of sources of the blood that was all over.
Player had an older brother that was supposed to be better. For Kerr, he'll cheers 2-1. Saw the King was offside, so he pulls back. String on the backhander. Fired one across into the corner. Now here's a chance for King. Overskates it. Sutter comes in.
Islanders have it buzzing now. Just flipped over Derek King's stick in front, and there's Brent Sutter following.
The line comes Deblois. Rangers need the goal to tie. It's dumped down in front. There's LaFontaine. And now Kerr tied up there. Puck brings it in front, and a great save by Van Beesbrook.
Oh, it's actually on Michel Petit, and he doesn't go behind.
Wow.
He tries to do a quick stuffer. That's a heck of a play, Van
That's a Denny Savard type move. And you get the feeling that this Ranger team right now looks a lot more like the Ranger team of a month ago than they did in the first period with those two tough guys in there. Drops it for Duguay. He left it there for Maloney, but it was tipped away by Erickson. Flips it out, able to beat two Ranger defense.
Bud Light here.
Who asked for Bud Light? The light is just a light.
Thanks. Keep the chains.
Tying up Potvin. Lauer comes up with the puck, drops it back for Didick, and it went by an Iver trying to thread his way through the defense. Didick rides him to the boards. Now Sutter shot, Smith the save. And he was forced wide by Potvin. Kissio lays it behind the net. Maloney was checked. Smith the save! I believe it was Kissio that he robbed with exactly a minute left in the third.
Kissio got it. Maloney. There's Maloney. Duguay just jams it back to Maloney. Maloney now moves past Trottier, and it's Maloney that puts it out to Kissio. Kissio was in a tough spot to try and jam it into this side.
Goes to the corner. Now here is Potvin. Behind the net for Kissio. Trying to jam it in front. Here, and Smith has it covered under the glove. They score! The Rangers have tied the game!
Help off the draw. Trottier leaves him. He just moves it in front. There aren't any Rangers.
But the Rangers with the threat right now. That came across the line and was brought back in offside. How about Dowling has the puck. Spins away at the rim of the circle. Trying to be out here for most of the minute. He had a man open in front. Lauer, who picks it up in the corner. Back to LaFontaine. He knocks it down, but he is done. The line. And back behind the plate, Greshner and Lauer really getting at each other. And now LaFontaine and Michel Petit, his temper's really getting short out there. Now, deep in the Rangers zone, Kissio will get there, and he'll just try to lift it out, but it's knocked down. Potvin a shot, Van Beesbrook the save. James Patrick looking to get it out along the boards, and did not get it out of there, but now they're...
I really think it did. Sabres really mounted a great comeback from four goals down against the Islanders tonight, but they just ran out of steam down the stretch. Let's take a look at the highlights, what there are of them. The Islanders drew first blood in the game. Alan Kerr scoring the only goal of the first period. His 16th of the year, made it 1-0 after one, and at the other end, Billy Smith was just stonewalling the Sabres. He made some great saves to keep Buffalo off the board, at least for the first half of the game. The Islanders scored 3 times before the second period was 5 minutes old. Randy Woods blasts one by Tom Barrasso here to make it 4-0. The Sabres switched goalies at that point, and then they began their rally. Dave Andrechuk scored on the power play here with the first of his 3 goals on the night. Mike Foligno then got in on the act. He scored Buffalo's 3rd goal of the second period. He also assisted on Andrechuk's tying goal in the third. It was 4-4, but Mikko Makela broke the deadlock in that third period. Makela scored. Kerr added another goal, his second, into an empty net, and that rounded out a 6-4 Islanders victory, and now the team has it off for the All-Star break. Elsewhere in
over 6 hours to get to Long Island for tonight's game, and when the puck dropped, most of the Sabres a bit leg weary, so much in fact that Buffalo falling behind in this one early in the second period, 4-0, when Randy Wood connects on the rebound. 4-0 Islanders. Ted Sater decides, what the heck, let's shake it up. Barrasso comes out. Jacques Cloutier goes between the pipes, looking for something to give Buffalo some momentum. Maybe right here. Denis Potvin with the high stick on Ray Shepard. Cheap shot. Anyway you look at it, Shepard left with a mild concussion. Potvin getting a 5-minute penalty, and the Sabres came to life, scoring twice. Both by Dave Andrechuk. This wraparound right here beating Billy Smith, cutting the lead to 4-2. Now, still in the second, just over a minute later, Mike Donnelly on a 3-on-1 spots Mike Foligno. It trickles through the pad of Billy Smith. Sabres within 1 at 4-3. Then, 3 minutes into the final stanza, Housley spots Andrechuk. Look at how long Dave waits before Billy goes down, puts it high. We're tied at 4. But on the power play, Islanders net the game winner. The key in the corner, Housley losing his stick, might have cleared, but Mikko Makela puts it home. They add an empty netter. Islanders take it 6-4. But a good effort by the Sabres. The All-Star break here. Sabres don't return to action until next Friday in Winnipeg. Elsewhere in the NHL.
Spread the well. Goal is third in the game at 13. Okay, wasn't that generous. They just given the goal to Gilbert. Maybe they were picking up the puck because it was Gilbert's Conroy, but then regathered seats. Those were sold tonight, but some of the fans have headed for the exits early. They're happy, though, most of them, because the Islanders have a 9-3 lead in this game with 6 minutes and 40 seconds to go. Grom tried to get to the front, poked away by Dadswell. Kander by Lauer, tipped away. We should register in our minds here that LaFontaine has 2 and has the opportunity for a hat trick. Lauer has 1. There's a shot by Brent.
Off chase. The New York Islanders at home against the Vancouver Canucks tonight at Uniondale's Nassau Coliseum. Early first period, Pat LaFontaine skating into the zone. Big old-fashioned hip check there by Darryl Stanley. And that sent LaFontaine limping off the ice, but he would come back to play. In fact, he would come back to get an assist later on in the game. Still no score. Watch Jeff Finley skate over the blue line, split the defense, takes the shot. The save is made, but here comes Brian Trottier for the rebound. It's 1-0 Islanders. Second period, same score. Derek King with a pass off the head of goaltender Kirk McLean. That's using your head, Kirk, right there in front. And eventually, King got credit for the goal. Second period, Mikko Makela with a shot deflecting off Potvin. Brian Trottier on the doorstep. That made it 3-0. And another scramble in front. They've given credit for the fourth Islander goal to Brad Lauer, who's really been scoring the goals with regularity of late. And in the second period, I should say, the Islanders lead the Vancouver Canucks.
The Rangers long. The New York Islanders and the Chicago Blackhawks played your basic defensive nail-biter, and the Blackhawks would have never scored if Denis didn't backhand it past an unbelieving Billy Smith. He was attempting to clear the puck off the boards behind the net, and he scored himself. But 2:30 to go in the game. The Isles get the tying goal as Alan Kerr beats Bob Mason. They went into 5 minutes of overtime, and nobody scored.
Blues don't believe one note of it. They got hammered at Madison Square Garden, where they've won only 3 in their last 45 trips last night. So tonight, a change of scenery seemed to be in order. From Manhattan to Long Island, east on the LIE, and you'll be at Nassau Coliseum, to find Billy Smith walling up the goal for the New York Islanders. Sharp all night long. And lucky, too. Look at that. Brian Sutter shoots just as Smitty covers up. Now, still no score early in the third period when Mikko Makela gets a good feed cutting Denis Potvin, who skates down the slot and beats Greg Millen. Later in the third period, the Islanders putting on good pressure. Out to the point, Thomas Johnson gets it on his stick and cuts loose with a blast. Bingo! 2-0 in favor of the Islanders. That's the way it finishes up. Billy Smith with his first shutout of the year, his 21st in his career.
And it's time for sports with Mike Sutterly. And Mike, the Islanders must be a happy bunch tonight.
First place, why not? Islanders have the night off, but they're probably watching the Capital Flyer game in Landover tonight. The Flyers lead that game at the end of 2-3-2. If the Caps come back and win, they would move back into first place, 1 point over the Isles. This afternoon in practice, the Islanders were a happy bunch, loose, thinking about being in first place since January 7th, and we asked Denis Potvin if this team was ready.
Well, I think so. I really feel that we've gained a lot of confidence. We've put some games together. I think our goaltenders are playing well. Defense is playing strong. Offense is scoring and playing well. I think that our specialty teams also are playing well. You can't ask for much more than that. I've covered about all of it, and if we can keep that up, we'll be all right.
I think we are. I think we're playing very well. We're playing very tight defensively. The guys are really helping out Kelly and me, and if we can keep it going, I think we'll be okay.
Next up for the Isles, the Stanley Cup champion Oilers. The last time these teams met, January at the Coliseum, Isles won 3-2. Terry Simpson knows his team must be ready for Edmonton.
They're going to be ready to play, and we really have to play well. And I think the guys, I'm sure the guys understand it. We have to play the same way. I mean, going in these games, we have to be able to play the same way. We have to be patient. We have to play very solid in our own end, very solid defensive game, and we will get the offensive chances.
I think no longer do we feel we're a third-place team. We feel we're a first-place team, and we want to keep playing for that first-place position.
Confidence from Pat LaFontaine.
Puck in front, and Randy Wood bangs it home finally past Greg Steffen through a mess of bodies, and the game's tied again, this time at 3. But Detroit comes back. John Chabot does a nice job getting the puck to Peter Klima, and he fights off a check, gets around Thomas Johnson, and beats Billy Smith as the Wings down the Islanders 4-3.
All right, what do you think of when you see that right away? What pops into mind?
Well, I can't help but think that very moment that we scored, my head went down between my knees, and I was in total exhaustion. And then, of course, over the boards, the adrenaline was flowing. I thought, this is the moment I've been waiting for my whole life. Incredible.
As a kid, growing up, was that the kind of thing you could visualize, you could think of?
I kept seeing Jean Beliveau doing it year after year. He was my idol. And all I could think of was, God, if it could only happen to me just once.
It happened 4 times.
4 times.
How you thought about it at that time?
It doesn't bother me anymore. I go into buildings, in other cities, and I come here, and people are, calling me Bobby and saying, go do it, Bobby Orr, and I guess it's mostly sarcasm. And I think that what I'm looking for now is to assert myself in this league and prove to the people that actually I'm Denis Potvin and nobody else.
I like that stash there. That's looking pretty good. What do you think looking back at that, and how do you think you'll be remembered in comparison to Bobby Orr, Dennis?
Well, I think that certainly is always going to be...
New York Islanders, Mr. Islander, as he is about to end his 15th year in the National Hockey League. We'll be back in a minute with a...
With 2:09 to go in the first. This one, though, is Pullen tied at 2.
Just with a hot goalie. What a great feat from Scott Mellenby to Ilka Sinisalo, who has beaten Richie Cron going wide down the right wing. He makes no mistake. There he is, right on the left of your screen. Sent him in all alone. This game...
Basket appears. Gilbert trying out with 11 goals this year. Won't connect on this. The Flyers are not seeing every rebound go to the Islanders as last time, and Smith has scored! And the Flyers have broken the tie. They lead 3-2.
And that is some of the first pressure that I have seen in this hockey game by the Flyers deep in the...
Stick at the Philadelphia bench.
He might get more for that, Mike. I think he's got a real strong case right here. A real strong case.
Let's return to Tom Meese for action in one.
For a referee to call a penalty, unless it's completely blatant, completely overt. And
a team which could, as Bill Clement indicated, become dangerous because by the end of the night they may be out of it. Washington on the final night at the Spectrum. Islanders have Washington here on Thursday, at New Jersey Saturday afternoon, and at Boston.
Hard for him tonight with a shoulder separation. How costly missed pass that was. The way to kill a 5-on-3 for at least 15 seconds is to make a bad pass in the neutral zone.
LaFontaine with a shot. Squirted through Crossman at the front of the net. Oh, and Makela feeds to the back. Norton scores!
That is Jeff Norton's first goal in the National Hockey League. And did the 22-year-old Olympian from Acton, Massachusetts, out of the University of Michigan, ever pick a time, Mike, for his first big-time goal? I'm not sure that it was deflected, but it was sure Norton that got rid of it. He's being congratulated. Smith, here comes the pass back to Norton from Makela. It went off Mark Howe. Right off Mark Howe's arm or his glove, right up over Mark Boforas. Norton caught every ounce of that 1-by-3-inch piece of rubber.
That is tied with Washington for first for right now, has just gone ahead. The Devils were out of a playoff berth on February the 2nd. They're still hot. Here's a chance for Derek King. Samuelson trying to get back. It's King in. Save made by LaForest. Gerald Diddick a shot. Save. Rebound. Score! Mr. Clutch for this year, Pat LaFontaine. 5-3, the Islanders.
Again, LaForest is able to make the first save. But another offensive rebound.
Says it for a lot of us. Captains through 4 Stanley Cup champions. A lot of hard times. A lot of good times. That's the commemorative pennant that each one of the fans received tonight as a memento for this festivity that is about to take part. Let's go now to join Lee Zeidman. 3. The shots on goal in the third period by the Capitals 8, by the Islanders 4. Look at the shots on goal. 38 for Washington, 18 for the New York Islanders. It was 5-2 at the end of the second period. Alan Kerr scored his 22nd goal of the season from Trottier and Norton, a power play goal at 5:03. Then Christensen scored his 27th at 8:06. And the final goal was Derek King from Kerr at 11:44. That rounded out the score at 7-3. The Budweiser play of the game, take a look at it. The Islanders were in trouble just for a while in the third period. Mike Gardner puts the puck in front of the net. Who clears it? There's Denis Potvin, the defenseman, playing in his 543rd home game, clearing the puck. The Budweiser play of the game. as the fans were at the beginning of the hockey game. They're still revved up here. The play of the game, the Budweiser play of the game again. Denis Potvin. Islanders doing quite a number on the Washington Capitals, Stan Fischler. In 7-3, they took charge very early.
Well, Ed, this was the kind of game you'd have a hard time getting a Hollywood scriptwriter to write better than this one. Everybody wondering how the club would respond on Denis Potvin night, and a 4-goal cushion over the Capitals is really something, and the team being in first place and doing that, I just think it was an extraordinary effort every way around, from goaltending, defense, on out to the shooters.
Kind of an honest moment for Denis. They're flashing a lot of his statistics on the metrics board. In center ice, there's a picture of Denis. He and Henri Richard tied with 180 playoff games. And several other statistics that belong to the highest scoring defenseman in the National Hockey League in its history. Let's go down and join our cohort, Jiggs McDonald.
As of tonight, 1,057 games, 542 of them here at the Nassau Coliseum. But it seems like just yesterday that Denis Potvin stepped on this ice to begin one of the greatest careers in NHL history. As you saw, he was drafted number 1 in 73, excuse me, if only it were 83, Denny. And that number 1 still fits as he leads all NHL defensemen in goals, assists, and points, both in regular and postseason play. Denis Potvin, throughout his career, has meant so much to not only the New York Islanders and the National Hockey League, but to Long Island as well. He has just played, as you know, his final game on this ice in the regular season, and now we'd like to have him step out here once more. Ladies and gentlemen, Denis Potvin. Becoming commonplace here to introduce the president and general manager of the New York Islanders, Mr. Bill Torrey.
Thank you very much. First of all, how about a hand for the whole team tonight? Stick with them. With your help, who knows what can happen. Now it's my pleasure to bring out here to give Dennis a little support. First of all, his lovely wife, Valerie. Valerie? Making a long trip from Ottawa. Been here before. Lucille, his mother, Mrs. Potvin. And there's Dennis' brother Robert. Dennis, I have here, speaking of the city of Ottawa, I have here a plaque. Oh, always a steam stealer. Here's his brother, Johnny. Dennis, while I'm mentioning the city of Ottawa, I have here something to read to you from the Mayor of Ottawa, His Honorable James A. Durrell. There have always been a very special bond between the people of Ottawa and Denis Potvin. Ever since he joined the Ottawa 67s as a very young boy, he captivated the hearts and imaginations of hockey fans in the nation's capital. Ottawans who watched the young Denis Potvin were fortunate. They were able to see the young boy move into manhood on and off the ice. As Denis Potvin the Jr. became Denis Potvin, the National League hockey superstar, the people of Ottawa transferred their allegiance and all their attentions to Long Island and the New York Islanders. On behalf of the Council and the people of Ottawa, I congratulate Denis Potvin for his outstanding achievements and for the man that he is. From the Mayor of Ottawa, James A. Durrell. Before we move on, Dennis, and I know you're going to be busy until probably about the 1st of June. But when we get those important matters all taken care of, to give you a little respite, we've arranged for you and Valerie to take a trip to Scotland and do a little fishing. Enjoy yourself. That's from John and Robin Pickett.
As you know, Denis Potvin began his career here at the Coliseum on the night of October 13th, 1973. He went on to score 37 assists, 17 goals that year, good enough to be the Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy winner. As they say, you can't do it alone, and Denny would be the first to admit that he had quite a cast supporting help that year. And we have with us tonight some of those teammates from your first season in the NHL. This guy played 5 seasons with Denny, 476 games as a New York Islander. Here's good old number 2, Jerry Hart. This next original Islander played 596 games in an Islander uniform, was a teammate of Denis Potvin's for 7 seasons. He wore number 8. You remember the toy tiger, Gary Howard. that first team that Denny played with going back to 1973. This individual played 900 games. I don't have to tell you about his career, but for 12 seasons a teammate, for the past 2, his assistant coach, Bobby Nystrom. Teammate of Denny's for every game that he has played as a New York Islander, with no intentions of retiring, number 31, Billy Smith. This next individual played 493 games as a New York Islander. When Denis Potvin arrived on the scene, he was the team captain and a teammate of Denny's for 5 seasons, Eddie Westfall. The year that Denis Potvin arrived on Long Island, so did another individual coming from employment with both St. Louis and the Atlanta Flames. His team called him Radar. He was Denny's coach for 13 seasons. Here's Al Arbor. Throughout those Stanley Cup winning years, so much was written and said about the career of Denis Potvin, his teammates. He was regarded as the cornerstone of what the Islanders went on to accomplish, and one of the individuals who helped him complete so many, many great moments in his career, number 19, Brian Trottier. There are several former teammates from that 1973 team who send their regrets, unavoidably unable to be here this evening. And now we have a very special announcement, and for that I'm going to call upon Mr. Bill Torrey.
Thank you very much, Jakes. I'd like to read to you a press release. As of a very short while ago, we have arranged, through cooperation of the Nassau County, which owns this building, and the Hyatt Management Company that manages it, that starting next year, hopefully we'll complete it over the summer, that we will start the New York Islanders Hockey Hall of Fame. This Hall of Fame will be located just to the left as you come down the escalators at the center part of the building through the front doors, down the escalators to the left-hand side. We will construct in there the Islanders Hockey Hall of Fame. To inaugurate this, Dennis, if you'd please take off that jersey. Your jersey will be the first one to win that in that room. Denis Potvin was the first, just as he was, as so many of you know, really the first piece of the cornerstone of our franchise and the success that's followed. Following there, of course, already honored, our former coach, and now permanent golfer Al Arbor will also go in. So Dennis, I take this jersey. This is one for you to wear for about the next 6 weeks through the playoffs. Just so that you won't have one at home, here's something for you to hang in your house. I've said enough, Dennis, and certainly you've done enough. 6 more weeks, and one of the great careers ever in the history of the National Hockey League will come to a close. It's been my privilege to be a small part of it. Thanks, Denny.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you. I really don't know. Yes, I do know where to start. This is really my retirement, but I still have a job to do for the next couple of months. And along with my teammates, we're going to be there. When I look at 4 Stanley Cup banners, I just don't think that's enough before I go. I have so many people to thank, but I want to start with my teammates. I want to start with thanking sincerely my teammates 1987, 1988. I'll tell you, the thought of going out in style means being surrounded by class acts. And I think this 1987-88 team is a class team and one that's going to go a long way. I know that down the road, I'm going to be awfully proud to have been a member of that club. Thanks. Terry Simpson, Bob Nystrom, thank you. Craig Smith, Jim Piggott,
The best two. The best two trainers in the league. I have to say that I have had a lot of accomplishments. I can't be too humble up here. It's not my reputation. But I have to look at the 4 Stanley Cup teams as the greatest players I've ever played with. And to all of them who are here now and who are somewhere else in North America, I want to thank them from the deepest of my heart, because these people sacrificed and they gave all they had for Stanley Cups. I was happy to see Mr. Ziegler here tonight. Mr. Ziegler, I've always respected you, and I'm so proud to have been a member of the National Hockey League for this many years. It's given me an arena to express myself on the ice. I thank you. The New York Islander organization has been my family for 15 years. I grew up with the Islanders, and I'm now moving away as a man. I'm like leaving the nest, but I think I'm well prepared. They've made sure of that. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been a wonderfully supportive cast for me throughout my career. Without your support, I'm not so sure that all of this could have been possible for me or my teammates. But I'm proud to say that in leaving behind all of you, I feel quite comfortable in the hands of my wife and my family, who now will be my new supporting cast in a world that I'm not too sure about. I'm sure that I'll see all of you at some point or another. And for you, those of you who I am not going to see, thank you so much for your help. You've been great.
And Denny coming up behind you, not in uniform this season, but here is Michael Bossy.
This performance, I thought it was tender, I thought it was tasteful, I thought it was classy, and I thought that Denis Potvin just articulated his position so well, just the way he articulated the game of hockey. He's now doing a tour of the rink, and the fans are giving him what he so richly deserves, and that is just an enthusiastic round of applause. Not missing anybody in the rink. It's as if he'd like to get everybody into the act with him. Now turning, waving, trying to include every corner of Nassau Coliseum. It's just been a magnificent tribute to Denis, and Denis himself offered a wonderful speech. It was spontaneous. He didn't read it. He just went right through it. Came from the bottom of his heart. Now he's coming back to his former teammates and his brother, family, mother here from Ottawa.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your attendance this evening. We look forward to seeing you Wednesday night for the opening game of the Stanley Cup.
Denis now going up and down the matting. His wife is still out there, Valerie. Former teammate Bobby Nystrom, now his assistant coach. By the way, I thought Jiggs McDonald emceed an excellent show, which is no surprise. Denny now making his way toward the dressing room with his wife, Valerie. Michael Bossy there. And as they take off, It was a magnificent night. So once again...
7-3 win. Really, the game not in question in the third period, but the score could have been much higher from the Washington side of things. A couple of defensive gems from Denis Potvin in his last home game. Let's go back to the first period and take a look at a sliding block. Recall it for me.
Right, we were killing the penalty here, and I knew the position of their players, but when Gardner got around, there was a block there. I knew I was fighting a 2-on-1 situation. And I figure if I go down, I'm blocking the pass and maybe blocking the shot. And as it was, I forced Gardner to put the puck in my pads, and it turned out to be a good play.
There were a couple of other times later on where you blocked the puck over in the far side. And one I recall in the third period, it went right into the goal mouth with Kelly Rudy and fished out a loose puck.
Yeah, again, it was Gardner who got the puck wide and is pulling Gardner out. Now, I'm going to let him shoot, you see, because I figured Kelly's going to use it, be able to stop it. But once he gets around Kelly, then it's my job to get rid of that puck. And I got there just in time.
Now, the crowd in the response afterward, in the ceremonies, chanting "One more cup."
Yes,
one more cup.
You know, I couldn't help but look around, and I found the 4 banners for the Stanley Cups, and those are really what made my career. I really don't put any other successes or individual awards in the same class as those Stanley Cups, because, as I said, to me, what was most important was seeing the people I played with sacrifice so much for the win, and we all really dug deep down for those victories, and none of them were easy, but they were all extremely satisfying, and I felt that I played with a group of people that I will respect and love the rest of my life.
Coming back to tonight's game, the last few minutes, 7-3 lead. We put a camera on you, isolated on you for the last 30 seconds, and we're just wondering what your thoughts were at that particular time as we take a look at the video here, and finally you going back to the bench.
Well, thinking, what, am I racing for the bench now? Well, at this point, Kelly was calling for the puck, and I'm really at this point kind of, you know, letting out some hot air, and I'm figuring, God, this is it. We've really done it. And I think that as important as anything, ending in first place in my last season is going to be one of the great victories for our club. And this young 87-88 team, I think, has got the talent, potential, and more importantly, the character that I saw 10 years ago in a young Islander team.
Yeah, I would agree, and I think a lot of the fans, too, that have seen the team get off to that great start, then the roller coaster ride during the season, up and down, and collectively coming together here in the last 6 games.
Jigs, I feel so mellow right now. It is so great. I wish people could feel what I'm feeling now. I think that if one could live in this kind of a body for a little while with these emotions, it would be Shangri-La.
The emotions at the bench when Denny went back to the bench. Let's relive those just for a moment. It's all over.
Well, I figured let's just soak it in, Dennis, you know. I mean, there it is. I was looking up at the scoreboard, and when, I guess when I pumped there was when it said that I scored more points than any other defenseman in the National Hockey League, and I think finally there's a record by a defenseman that is mine and only mine.
We've talked about dreams. Any that weren't fulfilled?
You know, I tell you, there's no way that I could not have fulfilled all of my dreams. I came into the National Hockey League expecting a lot, but nothing like what we've accomplished. I mean, it's been unbelievable. And, you know, the timing is perfect. I came in, my brother was here. I couldn't have asked for a better start. I came in with one of the strongest organization ever. Montreal Canadiens, probably the premier organization in the history of the game, has now a close second in the New York Islander organization, led by Bill Torrey and Al Arbor, the coaching staff and the scouting staff. These guys have built a real gem, and that helped me along incredibly.
You leave the game now having established high water marks, things for young people to try and accomplish, to try and reach. Congratulations on a great career. On behalf of everyone at Sports Channel, and I'm going to take it back, we'll have it engraved, but this crystal bowl is for you with our deepest appreciation, not only for the many visits and the great guest that you've been, but the great memories that you've provided and the legacy that you've left.
Well, Jiggs, thank you very much, and you've been so kind in describing my play and actually making me feel good. Thank you.
We'll fill it for you with one of the sponsors' products in just a moment. Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, Jig.
Let's go back to the studios and join Lee Zeidman.
Thanks, Jig. Congratulations, Dennis. Well, Denis Potvin does have some work.
Potvin became an Islander in 1973. He arrived at Nassau Coliseum riding the crest of one of the NHL's biggest build-ups. Incredibly, he has more than surpassed all the great predictions made about his career. Recently, I had a chance to talk to Potvin about his illustrious stint in the NHL. How tough was the rookie year?
Well, I look back on it as being a real test for me because, as I say, I felt a lot of pressure, but I think a lot of it came from me. You know, I wanted so much to succeed that I made it a point to worry about it, and consequently create an atmosphere whereby I would work harder than I wanted to work for the games. But all in all, it was after the rookie year that things seemed to get tougher.
4 cups. Where did that rank in terms of personal satisfaction?
Well, that was the best. I mean, I think it's very hard to compare anything that happens after the first cup. That, to me, was the greatest moment of my life, because you don't know that we're going to win more cups, although I had every confidence that we could. There's no way that I was going to let that moment escape. And when I tell you, the feelings and the emotions just rose right from the depths, you know, and to a point where I just didn't want to face anybody. I just wanted to go out and enjoy it on my own. And that meant shedding a few tears. It meant hugging and kissing a few people who were very close to me, and just really relishing the moment. The following cups were all very special, mind you, but different.
What about the 4th one?
Well, that to me, again, would rank a close second to the first one.
Why?
My dad was dying of cancer, and it was very special for me, you know, to bring that cup home to him.
The 1980 final against Philly, opening game in Philly, overtime. To me, that was the catalyst for all the good things that came later. Tell me what you remember about that game, that goal.
I can't think of that game without thinking about the one I scored on Billy Smith in the first period. And if you remember, there was a bit of a scramble in front of the net, and it was a 0-0 game. And in my effort to try and freeze the puck or do something, Billy had stopped the first shot. The rebound came to me, and I felt the presence of all of these flyers around me. And I thought, if I can just slip it back underneath Smitty's pad, we'll put an end to the play. Something we had done many times before. But this time, Smitty was on his way up, and I slipped it right past him into our own net, and it now made it 1-0 Flyers. And then we went into the overtime, and I'll never forget being a little surprised at the penalty called on Watson, but then again, it was a flagrant infraction, and there was no question about it. I'm playing the right point very early into the power play, a few seconds, I think, into the power play. And they're fighting behind the net, and John Tonelli surfaces with the puck, skates around the back of the net. Well, at this point, I just take a quick look, and all I see is open ice. Now, to me, that just looks like a big white sheet, you know? There's no dots or anything, and all that means is that there's open ice. So, instinctively, I move into the open ice, and then I just yell for the pass from Johnny. Johnny made a beautiful little pass on my stick, and I just shoveled it past Pete Peters. And I tell you, at that moment, I looked over, and Johnny was already about 4 feet in the air, and, you know, just elated. And we then realized, you know, what had happened. We'd won that game that we needed so badly.
One of the most extraordinary aspects of your career, apart from your playing accomplishments, is the control that you showed game after game at the Garden under the hail of, you know, that to me was amazing.
Well,
was it hard?
Yeah, very hard, sure. And it's scary, and still is. I mean, it's not pleasant, you know. I think that if you abuse me, you can go ahead and do all you want, but it got worse than that, you know, and it became much more personal.
What's your farewell message to them?
Well, I think I would say thank you in many ways, because it made me deal with my marital problems a lot quicker than normal. So I was able to save on the psychotherapy fee. They made me come to grips with myself a lot quicker, but I think that all in all, if they keep up the chant forever and ever, it's going to make me somewhat of the greatest anti-hero that ever entered the Madison Square Garden. I guess that's not so bad.
the story's not over yet. The Islanders face off in the playoffs Wednesday.
Big night for Ilka Sinisalo, but what it stands now, two will play tomorrow for second place. The Islanders have clinched first. The Rangers, New Jersey, and Pittsburgh each have one game remaining. Now, look at it this way. Pittsburgh must win and hope the Rangers and New Jersey lose in order to make that final playoff spot. The Rangers and New Jersey obviously go head-to-head as far as the point totals are concerned if Pittsburgh should lose for that final spot opposite the Islanders. Meanwhile, the other open...
Pittsburgh and the Islanders finished the regular season with a 3-2 loss at Boston, but once again, still finished first in the Patrick division. Yankees finished a great...
...was eliminated. Now, last night, the Islanders clinched first place in the Patrick division with a Caps loss. Tonight, they paid a visit to Boston for their regular season finale. Now, we'll pick it up in the second period. The Bruins were ahead 2-1 when Keith Crowder broke in on Billy Smith to extend that lead to 3-1. The Islanders made it interesting, but they lost the game by the score of 3-2. Even though the Devils are still in progress, we take a look at the current Patrick division standings. Here's how it looks. The Islanders in first, 85. Philadelphia with 85. The Rangers with 82. They are done for the night. They won. Pittsburgh with 81. They're out of it. The Devils are still playing, and they have 80 points. Checking the rest of the National Hockey League score by Glenn Hanlon. And watch this. Tim Higgins with Detroit shorthanded gets free on the breakaway, able to beat Kelly Rudy 1-0 on the way to a 5-1 Detroit win. Miserable weekend for the Islanders, blowing opportunities to take over the lead in the Patrick division. They've lost 3 straight 5 out of 7.
Here, and the good and the bad times in his final 15 years in hockey.
The proceeding has been a special presentation of ICENET, the Islanders Championship Entertainment Network.
Best team for insurance. Go for National Security Brokerage. You'll feel secure with National Security Brokerage. Let's go Islanders.